Welcome back to Talk of the Town on 99.7, 1450 WHTC and WHTC.com.
We welcome you back to Talk of the Town for this Friday, October 22nd. I'm Gary Stevens. Fourth Friday of the month. This time we spotlight Evergreen Commons. Many people know of Evergreen Commons as that facility, the former Holland Christian High School site, as what we call the Evergreen Commons Triangle, where Michigan Avenue, State Street, and River Avenue all meet. But Evergreen Commons is more than just the actual Commons campus. There is another aspect to Evergreen Commons called the Day Center of Evergreen. And this month, our Evergreen Commons segment will spotlight the Day Center of Evergreen. And for that, we are very pleased to have the Day Center Program Manager, Suzzanne Sholes, along with the Caregiver Support Coordinator, Alyssa Langejans, on the other end of our Zoom connection. Ladies, good morning and welcome to WHTC.
Morning. Morning.
Glad you are with us. And if you have a question about the Day Center of Evergreen, they'd be more than happy to answer it at 616-395-1450, 616-395-1450. Before we go too much further, we always have new listeners. We also have new people who come into the area who might not be aware of what the Day Center of Evergreen can provide to people. What exactly is it? Where is it? And how can people get involved with it?
Definitely. Well, first, we're located right down the street from our main campus on 16th Street. So right on the corner of 16th and River in the Midtown complex. So we also used to be a part of the old E.E. Feld building. So we are in the gymnasium portion. And then what the Day Center is as a whole is it's another place we're open Monday through Friday. And we just serve older aging adults who are just seeking out some more stimulation, socialization activities throughout the day. Yeah, so that's kind of a little bit.
Mm-hmm. They may also seek a place to bring a loved one if you're still caregiving at home and need a little break and respite from your daily routine. And we can assist with caregiver support as well.
Now, the thing with the Day Center, and my experience with talking with some of the leaders of the Day Center of Evergreen, is it is sort of like a helping hand, as you mentioned, to help those who normally are the caregivers 24/7, that they don't want to bring their loved ones into an assisted living facility, want to care for them at home. It gives them a little bit of a break, but to a certain extent, it also helps those who do need the extra assistance. That, let's put it this way, if they come to the regular campus, they're not going to get that. This is a place for them to do that.
Yeah, I actually just described this to a new hire staff this week, that Evergreen Commons is a place for individuals to go and find things they like to do. And those individuals can usually be self-directed. Though sometimes as people get older, they need a little bit more assistance, a helping hand, like you said, or maybe some direction and structure. So the Day Center is a place that's open with a structured daily activity schedule, and individuals are staffed here just to give that guidance and kind of cue and assist as needed.
Apologies if I say the wrong person, but I believe it was Suzzanne that just mentioned.
Yes.
It.
Yeah.
It was a 50-50 thing, and I got it on that one. Suzzanne, you mentioned about the fact of a new hire. It leads to a question that, let's just say, may be easy to ask, hard to answer. When dealing with people who would like to help at the Day Center of Evergreen, what type of would be the ideal disposition for a new hire, a new person to help? What attributes are maybe you and the staff looking for in bringing somebody on board?
That's a great question. We're always looking for someone who has compassion for people who are aging and an understanding for how life changes as you have the need for more assistance. So someone who can easily integrate into a situation where they need to provide help to an individual that might not always be a part of daily life and in the normal aging process or in everybody's normal everyday life. We also look for someone who's comfortable being in a group setting and leading activities. So having maybe a group of 10 to 12 around them and being able to captivate the attention and understand the needs of the group. And then we're also looking for someone who has compassion and can relate to possible needs of a caregiver as well, so that they understand our program is not just very tailored to those who are in the building, but sometimes an outreach to those who are still outside of the building.
We'll touch upon the caregiver support with Alyssa Langejans in a few moments, but I want to keep the conversation with you, Suzzanne, about dealing with those who do need the extra help. One thing that I have heard from those who are helping a family member, and I'll put it specifically, dementia, Alzheimer's. They remember mom and dad or grandma and grandpa or Uncle Fred or Aunt Harriet they remember them when they were vibrant, alive. They were with it. Now they're a shell of themselves. And sometimes they don't understand why grandpa doesn't respond to them like they used to, or why dad doesn't remember something like that. To a certain extent, Suzzanne, that's tough for a caregiver to do, but yet, and I'm going to throw this more of a general question than anything else, a caregiver at the Day Center of Evergreen who doesn't have that back knowledge, who just sees them as what they are now, might be better able to help their needs.
Yeah, so not having the emotional and historical attachment to someone can make us all more objective to be able to provide that care. I think one of the best things that we do here as a program staff is live in the here and now and always try to be present with what each individual is experiencing. So we gather a lot of rich social history and background for each of our participants so that we know who they are and what they used to like to do and where they have interests. But we also know that not everybody can recall or still be able to manage all of the skills that they used to have, either socially or physically or their interests. So we are constantly thinking about the here and now and living in the moment with each individual and kind of interpreting what they're going through based on moments as opposed to the whole picture in their life history. And then with that, that keeps us present in being able to help them enjoy coming for the day. And every day is different, but as long as we can continue to just make sure they're having a good day with respect and dignity, that's our goal.
Let me throw it to Alyssa on the other side of that question, dealing with caregivers who might become frustrated because their loved one isn't the same that they knew growing up.
Definitely. I think it's hard as you see this diseases with aging often being a linear down slope for them, and just to be able to know who they were and have that relationship and still honor that, but to see that the person in front of them might not still be that same person. And for them having to go through that, navigating what that means for them, taking on a new role as a caregiver can be extremely hard and isolating to do alone. And so to be able to provide a space, here for their loved one to come, to provide them with that break for them to feel like that they can have rest, that they can do things that make them feel like them, and just rejuvenate and re-energize. So when they do take on that role again back at home, that they're able to. But then also to have the staff here to talk through and validate those emotions and those feelings, and to give tools and just insight to be able to navigate that, because it is truly a difficult thing, but something that we're able to provide such an opportunity for their loved ones to come, for us, like Suzzanne said, to meet them at the here and now so that they can have a break and have those moments to just rest and feel like themselves.
The voice of Alyssa Langejans, you heard her as well from Suzzanne Sholes. They are with the Day Center of Evergreen. If you have a question about the Day Center of Evergreen, they'll be happy to answer it at 616-395-1450, 616-395-1450. Alyssa, I'm going to stay with you for a moment, sort of as a follow-up of what your staff does, especially in a situation where, and correct me if I'm putting a wrong scenario or maybe casting the scenario in a wrong sense. A loved one needs the extra help. A caregiver needs a break. So the caregiver brings the loved one to the Day Center of Evergreen. You, and I say you as the Day Center staff, Alyssa, deal with the loved one for that day. Do the staff then, when the caregiver comes back to pick up the loved one, does the staff send, okay, this happened, this, and this, and if you do this, and this, that'll help follow up what we did today with that loved one? How much follow-up that's my question. How much follow-up does your staff do?
Yeah, definitely. I think one thing that I often say on tours and as I'm guiding folks around if they're interested is that this environment here is very familial. It's a very close-knit community of staff who truly, like Suzzanne mentioned, the type of people that we hire are invested in making sure that the lives are just enriched, whether that's for the person here at the day center or their loved ones at home caring for them. And so at the end of each day, if we note that something went well or if something maybe didn't go as well as we had hoped, it's enlightening information to share each day with the family members. When we offer a tour, we also offer a trial day, which is just a time for them to come in and truly try the program before they're enrolled. And at the end of that, our staff will meet one-on-one with the loved one and just go through what they did that day, how it went from our end, because we often know maybe the report that they're going to get from their loved one when they leave these places just might not be as detailed or as just accurate as we see here. And so to be able to have the honesty from our staff and just the knowledge and the tricks or tips that we used here for them to be able to bring that home is very helpful.
Frank question for either you, Alyssa, or for you, Suzzanne, especially when someone comes in and they bring a loved one there and the staff says this person should not be living alone, should not be with a caregiver, needs professional assistance. Do you approach the caregivers and saying, this is something that's beyond you? Or, how do you handle that type of situation? Because from time to time, there are people that come into the day center that frankly need to be in 24/7 adult care.
Yeah. So we do have a nursing team. We have a registered nurse who does oversight of all of our health services and a lot of monitoring on a monthly basis and tracking. And we gather a baseline of information when people come into the program so that we can track how their behavior or their needs or their health or their positive increases in engagement are going throughout their enrollment. And sometimes we do need to have those conversations with caregivers where for the medical side of things, we just can't give that much comprehensive care, or on behalf of the caregiver, we can help identify where that care is lacking and encourage options. We have had conversations about behavior and options for additional care and more supervision because it's not safe. And I think that's a collaborative approach with both our nursing team, myself and Alyssa, to go ahead and kind of help teach and support that caregiver in understanding that it's okay to make decisions that might change the living situation, but it's always safer and more beneficial. And one of the things we always draw back to is maybe it's okay sometimes not to just be a caregiver anymore, but go back to being the wife or the husband when caring for these individuals.
The Evergreen Commons format is for those 55 and older to be a part of Evergreen Commons. Day Center in that regard too?
Day Center is not age specific. We want to assist adults living we want to assist adults to continue living in place with services. We do have some individuals who are here under 50, and they might live in a group setting and need a little extra socialization or structure for the day. And there's not a program out there that would be applicable to them. We do gear toward specific diagnoses such as dementia, Parkinson's disease, social isolation, and depression, because those are the most prevalent. However, we have a wide variety of individuals, men and women. I think our youngest individual right now is 39, and our oldest individual will be 103 next month.
The reason why I ask about the age question, Suzzanne, is the fact that there is one disease that strikes, doesn't strike to the older. It can strike as young as, the late 30s. Lou Gehrig got it. ALS. Work with that in that situation, or is that something that has to go somewhere else?
No, we have had individuals in the program with ALS, and it's a very good collaboration between us and their caregiver and maybe other healthcare providers based on where they are in the process of that disease. So if things are early on to mid stages and we can physically assist, we typically would try to do our best to be a part of their healthcare team.
Okay, that again, when we talk about needing the services of the day center, it's more than just Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, and dementia. And I brought up ALS as the another major debilitating illness. There are others as well. Multiple sclerosis, another one as well, where it's a help. It's a help in those situations.
A lot of stroke survivors are younger than you would anticipate as well. So having folks in to rebuild strength and maintain independence after they've had a stroke can be at any age, really.
This is going to be a little bit of a dicey question, but then again, it's one that needs to be asked. Costs. How do you and your staff, Suzzanne or Alyssa, deal with those who might want to use the services, but they're on a budget and they have to make some hard decisions?
Definitely. So this is kind of where we differ from the main Evergreen Commons campus, as in they have a membership that's annually. We have a cost point of each day. So each day that someone will come, they would have a cost for that. It's divvied up in levels of care. So we have 3 different levels of care that vary based on needs here at the program, whether that's physical assistance, maybe just more reminders or engagement to stay in the program and function at that ability to engage with others. And then we charge based on a half day or a full day. So again, we divvy it up if they're here for less than 4 hours or more than 4 hours. We'll look at that. It ranges between $80 and $100 for a full day and $60 to $75 for a half day. Includes lunch and just everything that you would get here. And then we contract with transportation if that's needed at an additional cost. If those prices are, like you said, on a budget or they seem scary, then we've talked through different funding options. We currently contract with different Medicaid waiver options, as well as the VA. We have different grants pending on county accessibility and things like that as well. So if those numbers are a little too high or just not feasible at the moment, but the need to come to the day center is, then we can talk through that.
616-395-1450. Let's get to a call. Good morning. You're on the line with our guests.
Yeah, I got a question for them. I got a mother who's got the old timers, and sometimes she gets real mad at somebody. That's normal or not for our old timers?
Yeah, so for anybody experiencing cognitive changes in the way they think, it can affect their personality. So somebody with Alzheimer's can have mood swings, and it's very common. And it can be very common as a general symptom overall, or it can come and go on a daily basis.
See, some days she's real nice, and you talk to her, she's always that way. You come back after something, she says something else to me, and as I come back, ask her why it happened, and she automatically snaps at me.
Yeah, that is a very common. a common occurrence. And what can also happen is that an individual can also take out their frustration or feelings in vocal words, and it's a little different than what their intention may be, and they might just put that behavior toward the most familiar caregiver as well.
Yeah, she still drives yet, and she takes a one pill a day or something like that for old timers.
Sure. And it's a hard change when you see things change, you see some deficits occurring, but they're still very independent physically. So it's important just to watch to make sure she's safe. That's the most important thing.
Because I talk to her every day. My brother is a beneficiary, and my other sister. All three of us get along, talks to her and everything, and go to her house.
All right. Appreciate the call. Thank you very much. 616-395-1450. And Suzzanne, this is the time I would say that when you have staffers that deal with somebody who, pushes some buttons and brings the stress level on. It's one thing to counsel caregivers and those that come and need the services. Sometimes you got to counsel each other too.
Absolutely. Yep. And we know that we just have to take a break sometimes and step away and then reapproach it with a positive outlook.
Yeah. One final thing, and because we are out of time on this segment, how can people get a hold of the Day Center for Evergreen to not only find out about the services and maybe find out exactly not only what they do, but also whether or not it might be right for them?
The best way to do that is to call our resource office. Evergreen Commons has a resource office that connects individuals with resources for care services, ranging from day center options to in-home options and maybe guidance for finance and funding. And that is directly through our intake line or our point of contact, which is 616-355-5118.
Repeat the number, please.
616-355-5118, the Evergreen Commons Resource Office.
And of course, online, evergreencommons.org, and there's a link to the Day Center.
Correct.
And not only the Day Center, but also you mentioned in-home, which I don't think, is that out of you or is that out of your office, or is that something entirely different?
It's not something that Evergreen Commons provides, but through our resource office, we can put you in touch with the various agencies in the community and help navigate how to get those set up.
Suzzanne Sholes and Alyssa Langejans, I want to thank you very much for joining us today on WHTC's Talk of the Town to tell us a little bit about the services of the Day Center of Evergreen. Wish you and everyone there not only the best, but we look forward to hopefully chatting with you again soon.
Absolutely. Thanks, Gary.
Thank you very much, Alyssa Langejans and Suzzanne Sholes of the Day Center of Evergreen.